you've gone to the Central in both the AL and the National League here. In the American League, Jensen, it just feels like you can expect calamity down the stretch. I think we all think we know, and then we don't know with this division year in and year out. What do you have out there in the futures that people might want to take a nibble on?
Yeah, so centrally speaking, we want to kind of highlight here both the American League and National League division races and two teams, one that's really trending in the right direction, one that has been there for pretty much the entirety of the regular season. Let's start in the American League side. The Detroit Tigers, reports of their demise gravely over-exaggerated, and especially since trading Tarek Skubal, all they've done is gone 5-2. The Dodgers in that time span, for what it's worth, 1-6. Skubal is on the mound at home, makes his debut at Chavez Ravine on the home side there against the Royals later on tonight. But futures that caught my eye, Dave, and they have changed since overnight. So to make the postseason, the Tigers are now down to 2-1, and I actually kind of like their division price still at 4-1. It was plus 550 over the weekend, now 4-1 here on DraftKings this morning. I know the White Sox just took a crucial series over the weekend against the Cleveland Guardians, but the way that Detroit has really been playing will highlight what makes them attractive in just a moment. The Brewers at 5-1 to win the National League. Now, again, this kind of parlayed with the Dodgers leaking some oil here. I think 5-1, still a very advantageous price. And I also like their World Series price, even though it's dipped into single digits at plus 950. If I give you the resumes for both teams, let me start with you on the Detroit Tigers side. Going all the way back to July 1st. I mean, we heard all about the Boston Red Sox, and to that end, they deserve as much credit as anyone in the league. But right behind them have been the Detroit Tigers. Since July 1st, Dave, the Tigers have the second most runs scored in the American League. Yep, second only to the Boston Red Sox. They also have the second most home runs to Boston in that time span. Where I'm bullish, and now even without Tarek Skubal, they have still led they've still led MLB in team ERA from that time span. Yes, they did have Tarek Skubal for the month of July, but they, as a group, have the sixth most quality starts in Major League Baseball, meaning you're getting through 6 innings and allowing 3 runs or fewer on a regular basis. They have also kept the ball in the ballpark. Fewest home runs allowed in Major League Baseball in that time. So again, reinforcing why I think it is a buy opportunity both for the Tigers to make the postseason, and I would take a shot on them to win the American League Central at the current price of at least 4-1. The Brewers have just been steady Eddie. Since July 1st, second lowest team ERA in the National League, the Chicago Cubs, right in that division, have the best and lowest team ERA. The second fewest walks allowed as a pitching staff. Again, limiting traffic, but also striking out a ton. Only the Cubs have had fewer walks, and only the Philadelphia Phillies have more strikeouts as a pitching staff than the Milwaukee Brewers. What do you need to win in October, Dave? You need to generate swing and miss from your rotation and your bullpen, and you need to limit traffic. The Milwaukee Brewers have been nearly paramount throughout this season, but certainly since July 1st, arguably the best pitching staff in the National League.
I've got them at 5-1 to have the best record at the number 1 seed in the National League. 4-game lead right now over the Dodgers. Now I got to start looking at the Braves as the team closest to Milwaukee, but that ticket's looking better and better with every passing day. Very quickly in Detroit, how do you stay in this thing and or eclipse what you were doing without Tarek Skubal and without Casey Mize? I mean, you gave up your top 2 starters, the front-end guys in the rotation, and you haven't missed a beat yet. You do think it's sustainable without those guys going forward, that they can kind of fill in those gaps? And let's be honest, because the rest of the division is not that daunting, that's the reason why those tickets might still be able to get home?
Yeah, and think about who they have still in their rotation. Framber Valdez has actually picked it up a notch here in the last couple of weeks. They have had Troy Melton, who has been phenomenal for them. Outside of Tarek Skubal, you could probably look at Melton and Casey Mize as the nominees for best starting pitcher throughout the body of work in the entirety of the regular season for Detroit. They did just activate Jackson Jobe, their young phenom fireballer. Remember, he was a first-rounder, 3rd pick overall in 2021, had the arm injury last year, but now has found his way back into this rotation, and that is a frontline starting pitching guy that they can really lean on, not only for the rest of the year, but for years to come. Cater Montero had a chance to catch up with AJ Hinch last week, and he was singing his praises left, right, and center that we would not be where we are without what Cater Montero has done for them. So you look at the big four that they've got right now. For Amber Valdez, you've got Montero, Jackson Joe back off the IL, and what Troy Melton has done for the entirety of the season. That's pretty damn good. And oh, by the way, this offense, as I said, they have been hitting the ball out of the ballpark with regularity. They have been scoring a bunch. And when they don't have their high-scoring games, their bullpen has been equal to the task. So, Dave, this is a team that feels like they are hitting on all cylinders, literally and figuratively, since the calendar turned to July. I think they've got a run in them here, and they are closing the distance quickly on the first-place Chicago White Sox in the American League Central.
I mentioned the Braves might be the team I have to worry about a little bit in the National League here, with the Brewers holding on to that number one spot. Right now, the Braves getting ready to entertain the Metropolitans, who are coming down there to the ATL. So we know a bit of a rivalry here. And all of a sudden, Met fans, Jensen, after the last week, speaking of trading everybody away, they've gotten hot. Christian Scott's going to be on the bump today against Bryce Elder. What do you make of this series? And I think you might think that Atlanta might be the team where we need to pay more attention to in the National League.
Yeah, Mets stepping up in weight class. Hey, nice little run here, but it's coming to an end. And I think that it begins even in earnest tonight. You look at this matchup, Bryce Elder has probably not gotten the due that he deserves. He has had a phenomenal season in his own right and been one of the best pitchers outside of Chris Sale. He has been their best starter in that rotation for the majority of the season. I think this is an offense, too, that is now trending with Ronald Acuna Jr. back the way that they were at the outset of 2026, Dave. They are a well-oiled machine between what Acuna has done. Matt Olson had himself a weekend. He has absolutely been surging as far as the home runs go. I got to go back and look. I'm going to just go from July 1st through where we are present day. Looking at the total home runs, because I think if he's not number one, he is still number one. Okay. 14 home runs, including some over the weekend in the Bronx. Olsen with 14 homers since July 1st. That leads everybody in baseball. He is back to that kind of MVP-esque form that he had at the beginning of the year. I think the Braves surging at the right time and now getting healthy offensively, where they've weathered a lot of key injuries here this season.
We mentioned at the top of the show, too, like you're stunned when Boston not only doesn't win a game, but they lose a series to the A's at home. They're going to go on the road now and take on the Blue Jays, who have had a very interesting week post-trade deadline. Couple that they gave away, one yesterday in extra innings to the Phillies and one to the Cubs, and yet still winning 2 out of 3 in Philadelphia. What do you make of this series, which feels like if Toronto backers are out there, it's the last stand against a really good team they're looking up to in the AL East?
Yeah, I do kind of lean Boston here today. Jameson Taillon on the other side here for the Toronto Blue Jays. But again, when you look at Toronto over the weekend in Philadelphia, did they have any business winning that series? Probably not.
No.
But they end up doing it. And this is why you play the games. So, again, when you look at where the wild card race is, meaningful baseball for Toronto, even after trading Kevin Gausman away, trading Dalton Varsho. They did get Jose Soriano back into that rotation. They do have the front runner for the American League Cy Young and Dylan Cease right now. I think that there is a lot to like about this group still, just 3.5 games back. Anything can happen. This wild card race is coming down to the final weekend in the American League. Wouldn't have it any other way with all these teams still very much in the conversation.
It is excruciating watching them, though. Like every game feels like it's extra innings or a 9th inning opportunity here. 1-run games here. It's been just life and death this last week. That 13-1 ticket I got right before the trade deadline. Let's see if there's any life. Only 3.5 back there in the American League. Okay, he is back, we do believe, from Las Vegas. The King of Connecticut has returned home. He returns to our program at his normal spots on a Monday. Will Hill, what is he like in the betting market? That's all next right here on VSiN by the Book.